Hello, everyone. It's Darren M. Palmer, Chief Book Officer with Self-Publishing 30 Days, with my lovely co-host,
Carolyn Flower here at Oxygen Publishing, and welcome to the new year.
Awesome. Well, we're still having a desire to inspire Carolyn, and I don't want to hold the people up at all because we have been offline talking about this. So lead us into some of the things that you have been able to learn, or you think the audience should glean from 2020, why they should go ahead and move forward with writing that book.
Well, 2020 has been we'll just call it a change-making year for so many people, right? We've been asked to go and reevaluate, reimagine, recalibrate who we are, who we want to become, who we want to show up as in the world, right? And it is an opportunity for us if you look at it through that lens. So one of the things that I believe 2020 taught us about why we must become authors in 2021 is the unlimited possibility that awaits us. Because if you go back not that long ago, maybe only 6-8 months ago, when we as business owners, entrepreneurs would talk to others about, hey, I have a book, catch me at this seminar that I'm going to physically be at, catch me on my TED Talk, or different live events that we would have planned or have been guests at, speaking engagements. People used to think that I need a book for those type of live events. But guess what? This world now has given us the opportunity of digital stages. And 2020 has put everybody forcibly into this place that says, learn to get on a camera. You have got unlimited possibilities to take your knowledge, your expertise, and your wisdom into other people's stages, summits, live events, right? Podcasts, YouTube channels. And every day now, you might need a book. Because guess what? When that podcast host wants to book you as a guest, what are they going to ask you? Can you send us your bio? Can you tell us a little about you? How do you serve your audience? How can your people learn from you? Well, I have this book. So more opportunities than ever before to sell what you do to other people through leveraging digital stages only means that there's that many more reasons why you need to write a book in 2021. I think you might just agree with that, Mr.
I,
Darren
I
Palmer.
totally agree with what you're sharing today. And for our audience, I want you to pick up on this. You know, I had a marketer that was sharing with me. He was like, Darren, some he has several shows as well, and he was sharing with me that some just tell him I do blank, whatever that is, whatever that occupation is, whatever their niche is, but they don't have anything else to go with it. So to align with Carolyn just shared with us, that's the importance. By having a book, sharing what you're doing, courses, or if you're creating symposiums or leveraging these rooms or whatnot, who have you spoken to before? What are you creating on your own? Because we're getting in an area or arena where people are looking at the creators. Those who are creating the opportunities. They're turning their dream life into their reality because the dreams are your reality. That's a whole nother show. But at
Yep.
the same time, when you create that, you leverage and you build opportunities. So that's what we're looking at with the bridge called the book right now.
Yep.
It's not just so I hear it right now in my mind or whatnot in the spirit with some who are thinking this is just not about a $20 book, people. I'm just
Oh,
give you this as an example. This is not what it's about. It's not for your ego just to tell someone and you don't want to write a book now because you can't go to your local Barnes and Noble and sit in there on 11 o'clock and waste everyone's Saturday with people spilling frappes on your books. No, this is about real impact here. This is about real service here. And when people have seen that you have invested enough in yourself, it's going past the book because now you're able to service people by giving them tangible steps at whatever you do, or they're able to learn more about you through your story. But without even reading your story, they know something about you because you're willing to go the extra mile that other people won't go.
Yes.
Everyone has heard someone with the excuse that one day I'm going to do it whenever it slows down, even though we're in a pandemic and, God, the universe has pressed pause on the rest of the world. Some people have still found a way not to get the book done. You're not commuting, going back and forth to the office like you used to. You're not spending as many times with AAU or whatever sports your kids are in. So you still finding a reason not to do it. So I think that those are who are creating, those who are serving, are reaping the rewards and having the harvest because they're not limited in reacting. They are responding by creating solutions for people to benefit from. Do you agree with that as well, Carolyn?
Oh, absolutely. And one of the things that I say to people a lot more now, and even though we said it before, people need your help. People need you. People are finding themselves now in a situation they've probably never been in their adult or entire life. Um, I don't have distractions. I have to get to know myself a little better. I have to sit in emotion a little bit more. I have to accept things that I used to just be able to just ignore by being busy and distracted and going here and going there. And so people are in this time and space where they're in this discomfort and they don't know what to do with that emotion and where to put it. And so I say, take it out of you and put it onto a page. Use what this is now and write about it. Take this opportunity to, transfer and transmute all of this that is your current experience, your story behind the story. And then for people who are really hurting, how can you be of service to help them? Because you have solutions that they don't. It becomes almost our responsibility at some point to say, man, I overcame this incredible journey I was on and I found ways through it. But you've got somebody that hasn't found that way yet. They haven't found their way through it, around it, over it, or under it, but you have. Why would you not want to help them by sharing your story in the vehicle called a book, right? Well, there's different ways we can share our story, but Darren and I, our passion is through the written word. And a lot of the times we don't write books because we don't want to touch this emotion. We don't want to go back in time. That's why it's my belief in my practice that writing books is an entire transformative process. It's about transformation of self and the reader, but you as an author, you got to transform first. So who's up for that challenge in 2021?
I
Because there is a place, and your book is just the beginning. Like you were just saying before, it's just the beginning of the journey, because it isn't necessarily just about the book. It's how can we now take that book, use it as a platform for your brand, your business, and grow the whole thing and have people learn more about you and how you can be of service to them.
totally in agreement with that, especially. And I want to go to the next step. Yeah, that sounds great what me and Carolyn just shared with you because it is, because you do need someone is counting on you to write the book. And I think that part of understanding that it's your fiduciary responsibility, you owe it. You didn't come out of what you came out of just for you alone. So if you're going to be able to create content the right way, you got to come from a space of being selfless,
Yep.
selfless to the point of realizing that, you know what, I could just totally acquiesce. I could totally just lay back and just relax and just say, you know what, I'm good. If that's the case, you can get away without writing the book. I'm just going to be totally honest with you. But for those of you who have a burning desire to inspire and you know that you're not here by your might or your strength, that others poured into you, others helped you out when they didn't have to, others were willing to get uncomfortable to make sure that they were able to pour into you to give you an upside in life, you definitely got to pay it forward or whatnot. Not just with a cup of coffee for someone, not knocking that either, because I'm grateful for that, and grateful to serve by paying it forward. But at the same time, pay it forward by the content that you're creating as well. But you have to first be selfless. Then another thing is to be selfless will allow for you to start. But after you are selfless and you start, the problem is that most of us will get caught up on the strategy of the how instead of just implementing on the things that you know how to do immediately to get started. Most people go from, I got an idea, I know this might could work, but now where am I
I
going
don't
to
know how it's going to all happen.
That's it. Where my book launch is going to be. You know, where how many book signings am I going to have? Wait a minute, you haven't even created an outline yet. You haven't wrote out 2 or 3 title names yet. Why are you worried about if LA is going to be open or if you're going to be able to have it downtown Toronto? Why are you worried about that? And you haven't even made a decision if you're going to commit to actually creating some of the content. So that's where the transformation that you hear Carolyn sharing with us is so important, that you have to let go of the
The
how.
how.
Talk to us about letting go of the how, if you don't mind, Carolyn.
Well, because the potential is unlimited, there are forces all around us that are conspiring to bring us exactly what we want. And so if you're aware at all of the, the universal laws at work, and even if you're not, you understand that, if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. That's a Bob Proctor-ism, right? So if you imagine what it feels like now that you're a published author, the next question people usually say is, well, I don't know how I can do this because I've never done this. And how is this going to happen? And that's not your work. Your work is to imagine it and to make a decision that it is already done. Like, I'm in this, I have made a decision, and the magic of decisions, because decision is the door, and that's quoting one of my own clients. As soon as you make a decision, bam, everything shifts for you. It's like all the forces say, oh, we have a decision maker down there. It's time we get busy helping them with the downloads and the thoughts and the opportunities and the people and all of the coincidences that show up on your path. Serendipity starts showing up, and the how takes care of itself.
I love that. The how takes care of itself. I love the decision is the door, and that's typically it. If you get caught, just take one step. Take
Yeah.
one step. And typically it's a way that I call the beget system. So if you open one door, it begets another. One decision leads to another decision, or opportunities that you wouldn't have been able to foresee. It's just what we was talking about earlier offline, Carolyn, of some things that we're doing for us, an event we're doing. But there were some things I had to make a decision.
Yeah.
So these are transferable. That's why I go back to, yes, we're sharing about the books. And yes, that's a way to be beneficial to you. But for those who are listening, if you already have a book, those are the ways that you can transfer that energy. The same thing. It might be an event that you're doing. It might be the imagination that you're using, or making a decision on what you want to see happen for your kids or what you can do. You got to see yourself as being a good parent ahead of time. Not a perfect parent, but a parent that's progressing. There's no such thing as perfect parents, even though I know some soccer moms out there that would disagree with me. But at the same time, I want you to understand that this is what it's about. It's about progression. And when you're pouring into your team members, when you're looking at your evaluating your own life, you have to understand that it's about progression. And what progression is starting with a decision. I don't have to understand the how right now. I wouldn't have never known that I would have a publishing company or work with amazing or great people. I didn't know that at the initial step. I took the first step was at least just making a decision that I'm going to do a book. And
Yeah.
so, like right now, we're in several episodes now, but we started with a thought, with a phone call, and we implemented. We didn't know how it was going to turn out.
Nope.
Then all of a sudden, we do the show. Then all of a sudden, a fire
Taking
was created.
inspired action. And I think that's at the end of the day, okay, you must take the action there. That's the action in the law of attraction, right? You must do the doing. And like we were talking offline about an event that you have, a live event coming up in Florida. And who knew that, yes, you were going to plan an event, and then the relationships that you've built with the people in amongst all of the details, that, like, who knew? But that's the how. We go into things by making a decision, taking inspired action, and then just allow things to start coming in that are meant to. Because sometimes what's so magical is that it isn't about the event in Florida at all. It's about a connection that's meant to come through that event, that's meant to take you into an entirely different direction. Like, That's the how that you have no idea about. Mm-mm.
Exceedingly abundantly above all you could think of as. That's what happens when you start making these decisions, when you move forward, when you're in alignment. These are the things that you say. This doesn't show up on your plan. It might not show up on your bottom line immediately, but it will cause those quantum leaps, I like to say.
Love it.
Quantum leaps that you have. And you look at someone, you're like, how in the world did that person go from here to there? Because it was the relationships, they took the action. And before we get out of here today, make sure that you take action
Yeah.
into 2021 with you. Please release action, not just I'm steady planning, not if I have the budget. What can you implement and do today?
And consistently take those steps forward, right? With consistency comes the currency of abundance as well. Because it's like going to the gym and expecting to have a body transformation when you show up a couple of times. You know, you've got to show up and make those commitments to yourself. Okay. These are all commitments that we make. We make commitments to other people all the time. You know, Darren, you and I, each have a few kids. We've got, I think, 7 kids between us. And we have shown up for our kids over and over and over again, no matter what it is. Show up for yourself in that same way. Understand that there's so much power in your story, and give yourself more credit than you probably usually do, and understand that if what is it about my story that could change the life of another person, and give that some thought and make a decision this year to impact with somebody, for somebody else, by sharing your story, and giving this year to yourself and benefit other people, because it does go beyond our story. That's the magic, right?
Love it. That is definitely the magic. And speaking of magic, for those who are saying, hey, we hear you, Darren, we hear you, Carolyn. Carolyn, share with the people, how can they connect with you if they're ready to make that action step? If they want to work with you, if something resonated with you, how can you help assist them? How can they connect with you? And also, before we leave out as well, please share anything that you have going on, anything that's coming up towards January, or something that you want them to look at for as a client. Whatever you want to share, please share it.
Well, you can get in touch with me at carolynflower.com, at oxygenpublishing.com. I'm on all social platforms, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, as Carolyn Flower. So I'm easy to find. A couple of events. I have a master class, but that's coming up this weekend. So we're going to publish this episode a little bit past there. But yes, there's other programs that I have, and when it's appropriate, I'll put the link underneath our social on that. So yeah, please reach out, even if it's just, hey, I just have a question for you. I'm always happy to answer whatever questions you may have.
Awesome. Definitely. Well, I thank you, Carolyn, for being here for another episode of Desire to Inspire. It's a privilege to be able to be in the room virtually with you, to be able to work with everyone across the world that tunes in for these shows. If you need to connect with me or any member of my team, definitely reach out to us at self-published, the letter in 30 days. That's on all social media platforms, and also self-published, the letter in 30 days.com, where we got free resources for you if you just want to get some information on this is the year for your new book, which will be able to help you with a PDF. But more than that, just take action, make a decision, take action, and then also consistency. Those are, I like those 3 pillars right there. With making a decision, taking action, and then the consistency. Keep doing those areas, and I guarantee you that you will see a change in your life.
Mm.
Well, this has been all for this episode. Carolyn, could you close us out with any words of wisdom for the people before we close out the show?
Well, I'll just tag on to what you said. Take that action and get your imagination in play. Think about what it feels like now that your name is on the front cover of that book, and you have somebody reading your book, and they turn it over and they learn a bit more about you, and they contact you and they go, wow, thank you for writing that book, because you know what? You just got me through a really tough time. Imagine that, and reach out to us if we can help you, and take action.
Awesome. Remember, we have a desire to inspire. You should too. Until next time, be blessed and be great.